Welcome to the highlights of the women's under 48 kilo and under 52 kilos on the Abu Dhabi Grand Slam. So we're going to start off with one of the trends from day one was fighters getting thrown and trying to attack with newaza. So the first example, we see the Russian fighter cartwheel over her head. This time she lands on the head and immediately transitions to Jujigatame. So Kuznetsova of Russia is able to flip Eastern from Australia and finish off this Jujigatame for a very impressive win in Abu Dhabi. So it took her a while to get the arms separated. But eventually, here it is, there's the arm and there's the tap. We're going to see Kuznetsova again here. This time it's a case of third time unlucky. Look at that limp left arm. So Kuznetsova getting thrown with a big seonage, leaves the hand out to try to block, trying to avoid getting the ippon. She ends up with a dislocated elbow. So in a moment we'll have a look at Salons from Belgium, who's also playing a similar dangerous but entertaining game. So we see the Uchimata attempt. Salons comes over the top, transitions to the Jujigatame. Her opponent rolls, but the arm's extended. Salons makes some adjustments and gets the finish. And Salons continued on with this strategy in her match up against Bouclé from France, but it didn't pay off for her. So Bouclé was able to escape that one. I think there was a second one here. I'm not sure whether this is the ippon finish. No, this one she rolled over her head and a little bit overexcited in trying to finish that armbar. Could have taken a few extra steps. Bouclé trying to catch her with a Derby choke. Now this is the final sequence. This time as Salons tries to catch the arm that comes short. Here's the big throw and ends up flat on her back for ippon. So this is Gilyazova of Russia. She got an ippon there with that Uchimata. Now we're looking at Costa and Salons in the repechage. So Costa scored with a Yoko Tomoenage. Salons came right back and she was able to score with this Taio Toshi. However, we had a somewhat flat finish, rather unimpressive finish here. We had a failed Uchimata. Uchimata Gaishi scores the Waza Ari. Costa ends up on the bottom with the ref calling for the Awasete ippon. I'd like to see the IJF allow things to continue after the Waza Ari just so the judokas can show that they're in control of the position. So this is the bronze medal contest, Costa versus Gilyazova. She didn't score with that technique I showed you a moment ago, but here she scores with the Sumi Geishi. Next we'll have a look at the woman who had the most impressive gold medal run, in my opinion, of this weekend. So this is Scuto of Italy. She's the current world junior champion. Big Surigoshi ippon in her first match. Then she came out in the second match, had another great throw, but an even more impressive newaza finish. The drop sode was followed up with lovely turnover. She uses her leg to latch onto her opponent as she turns them, and the opponent submits here. There was a lot of pressure in that one. I tested that out on a training partner of mine after seeing this match, and He said it wasn't a choke, but he could tell there was no way he was going to be able to escape. And there was just a lot of pressure and discomfort around the ribs and abdomen. So Scuto has a pretty interesting newaza game. I might do a separate video on Scuto's newaza in the future. So this is the final. So I'm picking up a few seconds from the end of the regulation period where Scuto almost got a score there, almost won it right on the buzzer, but Buckley survived, but not for long, as very early in this golden score period, Scuto pulled off an interesting grip break, following it up with a nice Ochigari for the finish. So Scuto, very impressive in her gold medal run here. We'll have a look at some replays in a moment, and then we'll have a look at more of the 52 kilo category action. So Scuto pulling the arm behind her back, moving her head behind the arm in order to get the grip break. You see her duck under Berkeley's arm, breaks the grip immediately, transitioning to Ochigari. If you rewatch it again, you can see the leg work with the left leg immediately moving into position to drive through Buckley. So let's have a look at more of the 52 kilo action. So Chelsea Giles, as always, very impressive in newaza, very active and aggressive newaza game. Likes to transition from attacks. So here we see her initially looking for the Sankaku, now looking to get Udegarami, but the ref called mate. And here's the finish of Chelsea's first match against the Mongolian. I believe it's Bold from Mongolia. So she locks in the Yoko Sankaku after achieving the turn, wraps up the arm with the belt. Now I think she's looking to control the pant leg. Yeah, she's got that control. So extremely difficult situation for the Mongolian judoka. So an Osai Komi win in her first match. We'll have a look at more Giles in a little bit. But next we'll look at the disappointing performance by the Japanese athlete. So it's 3 tournaments in a row that the Japanese athlete has been eliminated in the first round. Now I was really surprised that this wasn't called as an ippon, but the match continued on for a few more seconds. It was right at the end of the regulation 4 minutes. So Nakauchi from Japan losing to Primo of Israel. Primo went on to win one of the bronze medals. Now let's look at another nice ippon win. This was Kaleta from Poland. And one lady who was quite impressive with her power was Bishrelt from Mongolia. She had 2 wins by Uranage. There's the first one. Now let's have a look at her match with Kaleta, who you just saw using Sumigaishi so nicely. Bishrelt again, scoring with the Uranagi. So Bishrelt ended up on a collision course with Bouchard. Bouchard, of course, the Olympic silver medalist just a few months ago, now making her return to international judo. And as usual, the Bouchard Kataguruma proved extremely difficult for other judokas. I did wonder whether Bishrelt was going to give her a little bit more competition than she's used to after seeing Bishrelt's power. This match had a bit of a delay as Bouchard, not surprisingly, ended up suffering from a nosebleed, but Bouchard came right out and scored with a big Kataguruma. straight after coming back from a visit to the doctors to get a tissue up the nose. Now here's Bishrelt's match where she won bronze. Okay, this is against Iraui, who we saw earlier dislocating the elbow. So Bishrelt won bronze with that Uchimata. Now let's see more Chelsea Giles action. So this is Giles' second round match. This one is against Russian judoka. This is actually Kuznetsova. This is before Kuznetsova got her elbow dislocated. I'm showing things out of sequence here. So once again, Giles fairly aggressive with Newaza. Wasn't able to get a Newaza win here, but she did pull off the win to move into the semi-final. So here looking to establish the Udigurame, trying to roll her opponent towards her back, nearly pulled it off, and eventually Mate was called. I think Kuznetsova was able to slide her arm out there. Yeah, she chose the right time to release her grip. So this match ended with fairly seldom seen throw. Oh, lovely loop choke attempt by Giles there. So here's the finish. Little movement of the hands, wheeling Kuznetsova over. And here is the semi-final. So this is Chelsea Giles versus Primo Geffen of Israel. Once again, Giles very aggressive and willing to attack from any position, and she's got the opportunity. She's always looking for the Newaza victory. Almost locking on the Sankaku here. In fact, she did lock it on, but she wasn't able to complete the turn. So Primo able to spread her base wide. Giles gives up the Sankaku. Let's see if she switches to the Udigurame again. No, she's going for that front Sankaku. So I believe this clip is right at near the end of the regulation time period. So near throw by Giles, tried to follow it up with Sankaku attack. Looked like she has it completely locked on, just had to get the turn, but the bell went, so they went into golden score. In golden score there was a very near throw and counter throw. Giles countering Primo's Kochi with a Tanio Toshi. And I believe this is the final moment of this match. So I think it's a Kosodogari or a Tanio Toshi finish. And here is the final. So Chelsea Giles versus Bouchard. This one actually was really quite a disappointment. I was hoping we might see a bit more action from Chelsea Giles on the ground, but really couldn't get anything going. So Giles ended up being disqualified after receiving 3 Shidos. Bouchard's aggressive attacks coming in low, looking for Kataguruma and Kankoku Seo, and Giles just unable to come back and attack on her own. So Bouchard takes the gold.